everybody, it's Amanda, and it is Sunday, November 14th, 2010, and it is 8 o'clock in the morning, Everett, Seattle time. And I just got back from my sleep study, and I've already had a couple of people message me saying, well, how'd it go, how'd it go, how'd it go? So I thought, well, before I do anything else, I will let you know how it went. I had my sleep study done at the North Puget Sound Center for Sleep Disorders here in Everett, and it's the same place that my husband went a couple years back for his sleep study, and I'm seeing the same pulmonary specialist that he goes through. So it's really nice. It's like an old hotel that they turned into a sleep center, and it's right next to Anthony's home port, if you know Everett at all. So it's right along the waterfront down by the Everett Marina. And it was so nice because the sun was starting to set as I got there and got into my room, and I could, I watched the water. I watched geese come and land on the water, and there were seagulls, and they were bobbing back and forth, and it was a very light day. But then it started to rain, and I could see the lightning out over the bay, so that was pretty cool. So anyway, 7 o'clock I walked into the center for my check-in. Well, I was like 6:55. 7:10, Judy, my tech, came out, introduced herself, took me to my room, and told me that I was going to have to chill for a few minutes. And I was like, chill? Okay. Judy came in at 7:30 with my paperwork and questions like, when did I last eat? When did I last have chocolate? When did I last have caffeine? We did all my paperwork, did all these questions. She asked if I thought it was okay for her to go hook up the guy that came in with me. Like, some guy walked in at the same time I did. His bedtime is closer than mine is, and he's literally falling asleep. And I said, yeah, that's fine, because they told me that I was going to have to be ready to be asleep at 8 o'clock. And I'm like, there's no way. I don't fall asleep till 10:30. So she leaves, and I start to get bored, so I whipped out my cell phone, and I started taking pictures of everything and anything I could take pictures of. My cell phone does not have a flash, so I did get some pictures of, like, stuff around me, but I got bored. So I was doing that, and I was on Facebook, because I'm addicted. Shh. Have you added me on Facebook yet? So, anyway, Judy comes back in at 8, gives me the TV remote. I'm like, oh. Says she's almost done with his initial hookup, and then she's got to run through his testing to make sure that he's hooked up accurately, and that's going to take a while, probably about an hour, hour and a half. I should just kick back, relax, watch some TV. Okay, on a side note, had I known I was going to be sitting around like that, I probably would have brought my book that I am currently reading. And, oh, I have it with me. I don't know if you guys have read this book yet, but I just started it, and I kind of like it. It's got a lot of information, but it's Before and After by Susan Maria Leach. And I kind of like it. I just got done reading Weight Loss Surgery for Dummies, and because they break it down into Amanda language. And so now I'm reading this one, and I'm kind of addicted to it. I got into it, and every time I have to put it down, it frustrates me, and then I end up like rereading the same page 12 times. But anyway, had I known I was sitting around like that, I would have brought something to work on, or, something relaxing, something other than TV, because the only thing I was finding on TV at that time of night was CSI, Criminal Minds, House. Don't get me wrong, I love those shows, but not something you should be watching if you're going to be expected to fall asleep right away. So I settled for House because it was the milder of what was on. And it just happened to be a marathon, so yay! So I was watching House, and she came back in around 9:15 and announces I have to do a breathing test on a CPAP mask because I'm scheduled for a split study, which is where you sleep for half the time, then they wake you up, put you on a CPAP machine, and you sleep the other half of the time. So she wants me to have practice on the mask. So I said, okay. She brought in 6 different types of masks. Excuse me. My husband has a CPAP, and one of the options that they brought in was one of his masks that he's got, and I was like, I'm going to try my own thing out. The one I chose is a full face mask, and it sits over your nose and your mouth. But you can breathe through your nose or your mouth with this mask on, and that's what I chose because I don't always like to breathe through my nose. I get sinus infections very easily, and I'm stuffy and congested a lot from allergies, and so I do a lot of breathing through my mouth. So I think that's probably the way I'll go if it comes down to me having to have excuse me, a CPAP, is I will probably choose a full mask. And I was laying back and I rolled around excuse me, I rolled around with it, you know, make sure it would stay put and stuff, and because the one my husband initially had, he didn't like it. It didn't stay put. But anyway, so I tested that out for half hour, and 9:30 she came back in and hooked me from that, and I was back in the recliner watching more TV, waiting for Judy to finish up with the guy next door. Excuse me, I had to readjust my tush. 10:30 she comes in and announces it's time to start hooking me up. And then she also says, oh, guess what I just discovered? You need to have a PAD, restless leg syndrome test done. So let's start hooking up your legs. So she put like these, it looks like belts, but they're kind of nylonish, almost like a dog collar. She puts these straps around my leg. There's 3 of them that go all the way down. I've got 1 on my thighs, and I've got 2 down on my lower legs. And there's wires that connect to that. And then she ran the wires up through my shirt, and they connected to a pack that was sitting behind me. Then she puts a strap around my waist, just like she did on my legs, and she put 1 around my chest, and she hooked those up all to the box behind me also. Then she puts, sorry, I'll move you. This is my EKG monitors. Sorry for the boob shot here. She put the EKG monitors on me, fed those back to behind me. Then she starts measuring my head, and, you know, she's measuring my nose a couple of times. She had her fingers in my eyes. I'm going to get close. She wrote on me with a red pen, and she had like a big ol' X marks the spot here, and then she had some squiggles here, and I guess that's where she was putting stuff. So I had 3 you can actually see the cross right here. You see that? If you look hard, you can see it. I can see it. So she had an electrode here, and I had 2 here, and I had them here, 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 which is why I'm still a little red, because she taped those down. So when she ripped the tape, see right here, that's all red and irritated and sore. She did some right here because she wanted to monitor how many times I was breathing. Then right here, like right on my voice box, she taped a microphone because I guess it picks up your snoring, your audible snoring. I had electrodes all along the back of my head. I had a big one right here, and they put on like this greasy gel for the electrodes, like grounding wire stuff, grounding gel. And oh, here you can see right along here. It's very slimy. It feels almost like Vaseline that has started to get hard. When I walked into the bathroom after she unhooked me, I had 2 big clumps of it sitting like this. So I scrubbed my face off the best I could before I left there because I thought, I live 10 minutes away. I'll just shower when I get home. That was until Facebook called me. So she hooked me up. Lights were out at 11:45. She tells me, okay, it's 1:45. You should be nice and tired. I'm like, I am dead tired. I was worried about sleeping in a strange place without my husband and all my cats, my dog, my pillows, my big comfy bed. The bed I was in was pretty comfy though. I can say that. But anyway, I start to close my eyes. Judy leaves the room, and like not even 2 seconds later, she must have walked down the hall, turned around, and walked right back. The lights came on. She says, I'm sorry, but we got a mess with the connectors on your right leg. I'm not getting any signals. And I guess according to their protocol, they're allowed to futz and try to replace the connector 3 times before they have to take it off and do a whole new wire, which she did. She futzed with it 3 times. She talked to the guy over the loudspeaker, because I guess it's a voice-activated speaker. And then he said, nope, not getting a signal, so she messed with it some more. She had to refeed the wire, so she had to unstrap the 3 straps, unhook the wire, run the wire up through my shirt, take it out, unhook it from the pack, put the new one through, run it through my shirt, down to my leg. She had it taped. The wires were underneath my PJs, but then the initial wire was taped because it ran down and around. It was weird. But it was taped to the outside of my PJs. So, like, I get to watch those too and hope that the adhesive comes off. Because these are my favorite PJs. I probably shouldn't have worn my favorite. But, whatever. She leaves the room. I start to close my eyes and go, oh, finally I can go to sleep. Because I was tired. I woke myself up at 5 o'clock in the morning just so I'd be tired enough to sleep from my sleep study. She comes back 4 more times to futz with, there was one behind my head, there's the ones right here weren't working, the microphone wasn't picking up my breathing. So finally at 12:30, she leaves the room and says, okay, now it's lights out, go to sleep. And the only reason I know it was 12:30 was because a coworker, as she was leaving my room, said, hey Judy, what time is it? And she said, oh, it's 12:30. I'm like, well, crap. So I did not end up getting a split study done. She had me sleep through the night, and I don't even feel like I slept solid. I feel like I slept for a half hour, tossed and turned, stayed awake for 20 minutes, and slept for another half hour, tossed and turned. I don't even feel like I slept at all. She said that she couldn't really tell me much about my sleep study because she's, quote, not the doctor. She's just the tech. She said, I can tell you snored a lot, and I can tell you did toss and turn, but you did sleep. And she said that you have to have 13 disruptive patterns within 2 hours or by 2 o'clock in the morning for her to come in and switch you over to the CPAP. And she said that I didn't necessarily meet that requirement. So that means I either had more or less. She couldn't tell me, which I think is ridiculous. She said my doctor, to diagnose sleep apnea, looks for 5 disruptions an hour. And so she said, at this point, I'm going to need to come back probably and do a sleep study with just the CPAP and see how it goes from there. So at this point, the little paperwork that she gave me said it takes 2 to 3 weeks for them to review my my sleep study and get back to me. I plan on hounding them almost every day until they do. Because if I have to wait for them to get back to me with the sleep study and tell me that I need a second sleep study with a CPAP and wait another 3 weeks on top of that, that is cutting it pretty close to my deadline for being able to turn everything in for insurance. And I kind of had this feeling in the first place that the sleep study would be the one thing that tripped me up. And it turns out it probably will. So my plan is to stay on top of it. So I'm very glad that I had my own pillow, and I'm running short on time on this, so I might end up making a second video. Yeah, let me stop this and I will be right back.